Today's shout out is for Zhulodok. Yuma, Proud Protector, versus Sliver Overlord, Queza, and Zhulodok. A 2-lander with no ramp. Could get into another land for Realms Uncharted, but I kept a 2-lander the other day and it took till like turn 8 to get another land, so let's try a mulligan on this. And okay, 3 visits. Do we actually have green mana here though? Yeah, we can choose green with this one. I haven't learnt all the deserts yet. Alright, there's an Esper Sentinel, which we can't get down on turn 1 unfortunately, because we definitely want to make green with the Mirage Mesa. So I'll get that in tapped. A Mana Vault for the 5-colour player. Straight into a Chromatic Lantern. And an Aether Vial. So 4 cards left in hand. Well, if you're going to play Aether Vial in Commander, getting it down on turn 1 is the time to do it. Okay, a Tireless Provisioner. We'll go for the Untapped Desert into 3 visits. And we'll make white mana with this, seeing as how we have no red cards in hand. And that will allow us into the Esper Sentinel, hopefully draw into some more lands with that. Expedition map into the Esper Sentinel, and they are paying the tax on it. This is the problem with not getting that down on turn 1. Could have drawn at least 1 card over here. Might see a talisman or something like that from the Esper player though. Alright, playing a creature, Likeness Looter. Able to become a copy of creatures in the graveyard. And we see the first counter go on to Aether Vial. Brainstorm into the Esper Sentinel. And decides to pay the tax on it. Alright, an Hour of Promise. So now we can try to start ramping with Tireless Provisioner. It is going to cost us a turn though. Or we could just go straight into Harrow. Yeah, it's a shame we didn't make a land this turn, otherwise we could have done both. Let's go for the Provisioner. Expedition map being cracked by the colourless player. And he goes after a Mishra's Workshop with that, so probably plays it into some rocks straight away. And it's a Sculpting Steel, so maybe makes copy of the Esper Sentinel with that. Could go after the Mana Vault as well. Draws us into Bitter Reunion, and does make a copy of the Vault. Looting with the Looter, and getting rid of a Chasm Skulker. Another counter onto the Aether Vial. They didn't play any 1-drops with it. Alright, just decided to pass the turn, so we'll assume that he's holding up a 2-drop to surprise us all with. And that is a Seismic Assault, which we are nowhere near, still fixing our mana and our colours at the moment. So let's go after a Harrow. Sacrifice the colourless desert in order to do this. So I think we're fine to go for red and red again. Yeah, should be fine. Tireless Provisioner will make us some treasure tokens. So then we can go after a Realms Uncharted and make a land for the turn. Not sure what we are tutoring for here though. 2 of them will go into our hand and 2 will go into the bin. So we could go after a Riftstone Portal and try and get that in the bin, I suppose. And then there's Cactus Preserve is a good one. Yeah, we're just going after fixing the colours like I said, so we'll go for a couple of duels as well. So those are the 3 or the 4 lands that we're going after. We'll only get to keep 2 of them. I'll just point it arbitrarily at Queza. Don't really care which lands we end up with, to be honest. So ended up putting a couple of deserts into the bin. And we end up with Riftstone Portal and a Cactus Preserve. So our commander will cost 5 at the moment. Get down the Riftstone Portal. We'll hold on to as many treasure as possible, but I'll get down the Bitter Reunion just for the sake of it. So we'll end up at 7 cards in hand again. I suppose we might as well discard the Cactus Preserve and hope that we draw into more lands here. Alright, get into a land anyway. So 3 damage. Suppose we can swing in at the Eldrazi player. And we got into an Aura Shards there, by the way, which will hopefully be good against the Eldrazi player, although might be a bit too late already. Field of the Dead hit play for the colourless player. And has a big artifact for us here. That is a Darksteel Monolith, that's a really good one. Draws us a card with the Esper Sentinel, which is a Cataclysmic Prospecting. Oof, but there was a mana drain, so going to draw a card from the Esper Sentinel potentially. Looks like they're paying the tax on that. Yeah, they're going to gain 8 mana from the mana drain there, but Darksteel Mutation or Darksteel Monolith, well worth countering. Okay, and we're solely reliant on that for some reason. Bit of a glass cannon apparently. Gonna have to ban him for quitting there. Okay, and that causes a chain reaction, so Queza going to scoop as well. So, yet another ban. Aether Vial gets activated, so looks like we're playing a 1v1 with the Sliver player. Gemhide Sliver is a good one to get into. And we'll see what he can do with this 8 mana. He's got Wooburg now after making a land. Plays out his commander. Searches for a Sliver. Decided to go after a Cloud Shredder Sliver. Making use of the Farewell is probably going to be of some use to us. And we'll probably be able to take this opponent out of the game by getting rid of artifacts and creatures. And after a Spiteful Sliver as well. Alright, so we draw into a Beast Within. If we're just looking to... If we're just looking to go for Farewell, then that does kind of dictate what we do here. Maybe it's just Hour of Promise then. Play a land, treasure token. If we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we get a couple of tap lands in. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so can't afford Farewell after that. So I think we risk our opponent just dumping his hand into play in the form of like Cloud Shredder and stuff like that. And if he wants to remove some of our stuff, then he can do. And we'll go after a couple of tap deserts here. Although taking advantage of Field of the Dead would be good as well. Yeah, let's get Field in. And we'll just get a generic desert into play in the Creosote Heath. 1 damage to our opponent from the desert. We get a couple of treasure from the Tireless Provisioner and a couple of zombies as well. So that will encourage them to go for the Haste Flying Enabler. And keeping Field of the Dead in play will be good with the Aura Shards. Yeah, so just holding up the Beast Within should be fine here. Obviously don't want to play my commander into the board wipe that we're looking to do next turn. Aetherval going to cheat a 3-drop in, and it's a Sedge Sliver. Regenerate won't help them with regards to exile. Could cheat in another 3-drop here before the 4th counter goes on there. Okay, it's a May ability on this, so just choosing to keep it at 3. Activating Aetherval again. So there's the Spiteful Sliver. Just really trying to make them play into the board wipe here. There it is, Cloud Shredder, that's what we wanted to have exiled. Could be that they have more counter magic to counter the Farewell, maybe we should have gone for it before now, but can't imagine they have too much counter magic. So maybe Beast Within to try and draw out the counter magic. We'll go after the Cloud Shredder. So go after the Cloud Shredder and make some chump blocks after that, assuming that this goes through. And if this does go through, I'm going to assume that they don't have any counters or protection, anything like that. Oh, I immediately forgot about the regenerate, but we forced them to use the mana there, so yeah, again, Swan Song or something like that. So all we've done is remove this from combat, really. Take the big hit. Nah, but our opponent has the Blasphemous Act here, so yep, going to deal a bunch of damage to us directly. Yeah, so there we go, we see the triggers on the stack after the board wipe. 13 damage onto a bunch of stuff, so yeah, even with the Beast Within and the regenerate stuff, if we'd held on to Beast Within for, is it the Sedge Sliver that's doing this? No, the Spiteful Sliver. They could have regenerated it anyway. So yeah, I don't think there's anything we could have done there. So it turns out that if our opponents were never going to interact with anything, then the Sliver player was going to win that on turn 5 anyway. Or get pretty close to it, because 13 damage thrown around all over the place is pretty good apparently. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed that quick game, and look forward to Modern Horizons 3. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.